Hey guys, JJ here, and I was fortunate enough to attend the premiere of Resident Evil Death Island that took place in Hollywood, California. Today I'm going to be sharing that experience with all of you and giving my spoiler-free review on the movie. So with that being said, let's get right into it.
Biohazard Death Island.
The premiere of Resident Evil Death Island was an incredible experience. This was the first time I've attended something like this. Road team member Andrew joined me for the premiere. While we waited for the event to begin, we grabbed a drink from the bar. As we were talking, the producer, writer, and director of Death Island casually walked past us. It was a very surreal moment. Shortly after that, the cast all started to arrive. While walking towards the theater, I got a tap on my shoulder. It was Andrew letting me know that Matt Mercer, the actor for Leon Kennedy, was standing right behind me. We got to chat and take photos with Nicole Tompkins, Stephanie Panisillo, Matt Mercer, Kevin Dorman, and Aaron Cahill. We've done the interviews in the past with all of them, aside from Matt, but this was our first time meeting in person. They were all super nice and excited to be back, reprising their roles as Jill, Chris, Claire, Leon, and Rebecca. Then we all piled into the theater. Each of us had a free Death Island t-shirt waiting for us on the seats, and then it was time for the movie to begin. After that wild ride, which I'll be giving my thoughts on shortly, it was time for a Q&A interview with the director, producer, writer, Nicole, and Matt, all done by Collider. If you're interested in that Q&A, I'm sure it'll be out soon, if not already, on Collider's channel. I definitely recommend it. The interviewer was very professional and asked some great questions. Then after that, we got to do another meet and greet with the cast. There, I asked Matt if he would ever be interested in joining us on the Road podcast. I guilt-tripped him by explaining that we've interviewed the entire cast in the past except for him. He said he was interested and took my information. I know he's a super busy guy, but now there's a possibility. The ball's in your court, bud. Overall, this was a great experience. As a longtime fan of the series, it was a dream come true. I must give thanks to Sony and Collider for putting together this event. I would also like to give a massive thank you to Row moderator Jesse Duell. He won the tickets but was unable to attend, so he gave them to us. We are very grateful. Lastly, a thank you to all of you. If it wasn't for all of you watching our videos and this community, we would have never had the chance to attend this event. Now we move on to my review of Resident Evil Death Island. Before we begin, I would just like to let all of you know this will be my spoiler-free review. The team and I will be getting together July 25th for the digital release of Death Island in North America. We'll be doing a review and in-depth discussion. We'll also have a very special guest joining us, so stay tuned for that. Overall, I did enjoy this movie. It was a fun ride. There were some aspects I really enjoyed and others not so much. We'll start with the positive aspects, then we'll move over to some of my issues. A quick synopsis for this film. D.S.O agent Leon S. Kennedy is on a mission to rescue Dr. Antonio Taylor from kidnappers when a mysterious woman thwarts his pursuit. Meanwhile, B.S.A.A agent Chris Redfield is investigating a zombie outbreak in San Francisco, where the cause of the infection cannot be identified. The only thing the victims have in common is that they all visited Alcatraz Island recently. Following that clue, Chris and his team head to the island, where a new horror awaits them. Alright, so through a series of events, all of our heroes come together. This is the first time we get to see Leon, Chris, Jill, Claire, and Rebecca with each other, and honestly, that was one of my favorite things about this movie. They've all had their own journeys and experience within this world, so when they come together, it's great to see how well they work with each other. You really could say this is the Avenger meetup of the Resident Evil universe. In particular, this is the first time Leon and Jill meet, and I was really excited to see how this would play out in the movie. Honestly, it was great. They worked so well with each other that it almost made me want to see them together in a future game. Jill seems to have the most complex character development as she's dealing with a lot of guilt after Wesker brainwashed her to kill her own friends and teammates. This seems to be one of the main elements of the movie, and I do appreciate that the film focused on this and her journey to overcome the past. Rebecca even gets a bit more time to shine as a lot more responsibility is placed on her this go around, although she still doesn't get as much screen time as some of the others. With so many characters in this film, it's hard to focus on just one, though that one would be Jill, but the film does well trying to balance the screen time between each of them. When they finally do all come together, it's a really fun experience. All the character personalities seem to really fit with what's come before, and the performances by Nicole, Stephanie, Kevin, Matt, and Aaron are all on point. As you would expect from previous entries in the Resident Evil CGI universe, the use of tactical and well-coordinated action sequences are all executed really well. Though this movie does get a bit over the top with some of the action sequences, I would say it doesn't get to the same level as Vendetta. The film seems to also be a bit more self-aware this time, and you don't have the mindless murder of civilians like you did in Vendetta. With the film being more self-aware, you also get more callbacks to past events in the series. There's a moment when Chris mentions Piers Nivens, his partner in Resident Resident Evil 6, and I really do appreciate that the film recognizes moments from the past. I would also say this film has a bit more humor than previous entries, with quippy one-liners and callbacks from the past, like Leon mentioning the vacation he never gets to go on. For some, that could be a good thing. For others, not so much. Personally, I felt it was fitting. Moving on to some of the aspects I didn't like so much, the overall story seems to be very formulaic, with nothing really new or interesting to grab the audience's attention. You have the bad guy who is wronged in the past and now has an evil agenda that they monologue to every character. I will admit I really enjoyed the setup to the main villain, Dylan Blake. It took place as a flashback to Raccoon City, where he was sent with an Umbrella team to collect data. Without spoiling, things don't go according to plan, and he's ordered to do something that will change the course of his life. That was great. It's his plan that I don't buy. It doesn't make a lot of sense and is very hypocritical. He's just there because there has to be a bad guy with an evil plan. To some fans, that may be okay. To me, it was a lot of been there, done that. And it seems like Capcom is just trying to copy and paste without setting up a new and interesting villain. The movie also seems to follow a lot of the repeated sins from the past, where you know none of the main characters are going to die. There's a lot of soldiers that exist to be cannon fodder, and way too many coincidences for the sake of the movie. There's even a big moment towards the end that is basically copy-pasted from a previous game, but now it has all of the characters. I will admit though, it was fun, like a lot of this movie was. If you can turn off the critical thinking for just a moment and appreciate this movie as a fun action film featuring all the heroes from the past, I think you'll enjoy it. If you overanalyze, you could easily tear this movie apart, but I don't think that's the purpose of the film. It was made to be a fun movie and sits well next to the other CGI movies that came before it. I recommend going into this film just to have a good time and use the previous films as a reference of what to expect. So there you have it, my thoughts on Resident Evil Death Island. I know many of you have already seen it, and so now I'm curious to know your thoughts. What did you think of Death Island? What were some things you really enjoyed? What were other things you didn't? Will you be watching it when it releases on July 25th? Let us know down below in the comments and let's have a discussion about it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and for all the latest Resident Evil news, make sure to subscribe. The Residents of Evil is a Patreon supported channel and also supported by our YouTube members. So if you'd like to become a member and unlock access to custom badges, emojis, and exclusive live streams, click that join button down below. You can join our survival horror community on Discord, link will be in the description, and I have the Duke here to tell you a little about our sponsor, G Fuel.
Do you have need of anything for the road ahead? The Residents of Evil has expanded its services. Perhaps you're in need of a little pick-me-up. I recommend the G Fuel. You can even get a fair discount if you use the code ROE upon purchase. And as always, we thank you for your patronage, stranger.
As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see you back at the Residents of Evil.